Kachchatheevu Island is in news as the Indian Prime Minister makes his preparations for his next bilateral visit to Sri Lanka. The Tamil Nadu government has passed a resolution reclaiming the Kachchatheevu Island and stated that it is the only solution for the long festering problem of the Tamil Nadu fishermen. If you look at the Kachchatheevu Island, it is a small island which is an uninhabited island on which Saint Anthony's Church is present. If you look at the history of the Kachchatheevu Island, before 1921, it was controlled by a king of Ramanathapuram. And Ramanathapuram is present in the Rameshwaram region of Tamil Nadu, and the king used to control this territory before 1921. And in 1921, in a settlement between British India and British Ceylon, the island has been given away to Sri Lanka. And from 1921 on, the island remained under the Ceylonese control, even though the Indian and Sri Lankan fishermen are permitted to celebrate the Saint Anthony's festival. But the legal control of the island from 1921, it remained with Sri Lanka. But even though it remained with Sri Lanka, post-independence, there were some disputes between India and Sri Lanka over the possession of this island. And in the year 1974, Indira Gandhi government signed an accord which is called as Indo-Lankan Maritime Agreement. And as part of the 1974 agreement, Indian government has left its claims on the Kachchatheevu Island, and from then on, it became an integral part of Sri Lanka. But the Tamil Nadu fishermen had traditional fishing rights nearby to the Kachchatheevu Island, and they were also using the Kachchatheevu Island in order to dry their nets. And the Sri Lankan government also never over-regulated the Indian fishermen, and it permitted the Indian fishermen to fish in the region, and it also permitted them to visit the island in order to dry their nets. But the problem is, during the Sri Lankan Civil War, the island became one of the important stations for transport of weapons to LTT. From then on, the Sri Lankan government started becoming angry on the Indian fishermen, and it started arresting them. Then later day, what happened is the Indian fishermen started conducting bottom trawling exercises nearby to the region, leading to arrest of multiple Indian fishermen by the Sri Lankan Navy. And if you look at it, the Tamil Nadu government, it claimed that these arrests are illegal. In fact, the very transfer of the Kachchatheevu Island from India to Sri Lanka is in fact unconstitutional, is the contention of Tamil Nadu government. Because before 1921, the Tamil Nadu king, he in fact controlled the island. That is the reason why they claimed that this transfer is illegal and unconstitutional. They even went to the Supreme Court saying that according to the Berubari Union case of the Indian Supreme Court, there should be a constitutional amendment in order to transfer a land from Indian Union to other territories. This was the claim which was made by the Tamil Nadu government in the Indian Supreme Court, saying that it is challenging the transfer of this island because according to the Berubari Union case, there is a need for a constitutional amendment to transfer a land. But the Indian government's response was, from 1921 on, this land was never part of Indian territory. And if you are not transferring any land which is a constituent part of Indian territory, you don't require any constitutional amendment, and it is just transferred, or we just relinquished our claims over the island, but it was never our territory. Because of which reason there was no constitutional amendment requirement. But even then, the Supreme Court, or after that, the Supreme Court accepted the central government's opinion, and it also left the issue of Kachchatheevu Island as it is. But whenever the fishermen arrests become too much, whenever the Indian Prime Minister visits Sri Lanka, it became a traditional matter in Tamil Nadu to claim this island. But if you go a little further before 1921, historically, if you observe, there has been shifting control over Kachchatheevu Island between the Sri Lankan kings and the Indian kings, and the ownership on the basis of historical claim is not very right. But in the interest of neighborhood first policy, India should not exercise any control over this island, and the Indian fishermen might conduct some sustainable fishing practices there, but not conduct unsustainable fishing practices. So, and we should definitely uphold the principle of neighborhood first, and we should not claim ownership over this territory and bring forth one more dispute with one of the strongest partner with India in the neighborhood. Thank you.